What would happen to your car if you ran it till it was empty and never put gas back into it? What if when you did refill it, you put diesel into a car that's meant to run on gas? In today's episode, I'm going to talk about fuel, what it is to a creating maven like yourself, why you need it, the cost of putting the wrong kind in your tank, and the benefit of getting the right kind consistently. In the end, you'll get the kick in the pants you need to prioritize the most precious fuel you need for your creating journey. Hey, creating maven. I'm Joy Spencer, your Reframe specialist, with one important message. Your real work, it's not your job or your career. Your real work is what you create. And what you create is what sets you apart and makes you incomparable. It's your legacy. I'm here to show you a whole new way of working so you can create with your gifts, make a unique contribution, and finally get paid to be yourself. This is Reframe to Create. So the other day I was out and I saw a guy in the middle of the road. His car had broken down right in the middle of South Dakota Street and it was turned at an angle. And when I got closer, I saw that he was pouring gas into his fuel tank with gas from a jerry can. And I just wondered to myself, how does this happen? How does someone drive until they run out of gas in the middle of the road? Well, lucky for him, he did this right outside of a gas station, which I guess is probably what he was trying to turn into. He was so close, so close. And if this is you, no judgment here, I'm not judging. I'm just genuinely curious as to how this happens, because I know that I start to get darty eyes when my gas tank is dipping below half tank. And by quarter tank, I'm like flying like a mad woman to the gas station. And if you're ever in my car and I'm below quarter tank and you see me being really calm, just know that it's a thin veneer. There is a panicked woman just below the surface. So obviously, fuel is very important to your car. And if you're going to make any kind of progress on a journey, especially if it's a long one. And the same holds true for you on your creating journey. You need fuel, not just once. You need it many times along the way because this journey is long. It's lifelong, in fact. If you're new to Reframe to Create, you may be wondering, what is this creating journey of which she speaks and why are we on it? Well, if that's the case, first, let me say welcome. So good to have you join us. You're in the company of other creating mavens like you who are also looking to figure out how they can create with their gifts and get paid to be themselves. People who also believe what I believe, which is that right now in society, our definition of work has gotten shrunk, shriveled up, and boxed down into the confines of our jobs and our careers. But our jobs and careers are not what our real work is. I repeat, your job is not your real work. It has the potential to be a temporary vehicle through which you do your real work, perhaps, but it's not your real work. It's not even the only vehicle through which your real work can exist. Thinking of our work as only our jobs or careers is what limits us and contorts us. It makes us sign up to spend a lifetime being productivity hamsters, spinning away on our wheels, trying to figure out how we can do the spinning better and faster. It's exhausting and depleting. So if our real work is not our job, what is it? Drum roll, please. It's what we create. We are all born with gifts because we are born to create. And creating things and experiences, creating is our true work. Note, I didn't say creative, the adjective, or talk about creativity, the noun. They're all part of it, but that's not the point I'm driving at. I'm talking about creating, the verb. The things and experiences we create, that is what is our real work. Whether they be products, services, experiences, or projects, whether they be big or small, whether we go on to offer them in service for free or for a fee, whether we're doing them in the context of our jobs as employees or independently as entrepreneurs, the vehicle doesn't define it. The location doesn't define it. What matters is that you create and offer it in service to at least one other person. So this is why we're on a creating journey here at Reframe to Create. And this is what you're invited to figure out what you will create as your unique contribution and be about the business of continuously creating it. So let this be your reframe on work. It's not your job or your career. It's bigger than that. It's what you create. But this isn't the only reframe you need on work. It's not enough to redefine it. You also have to reprioritize and reorient your life when it comes to it. I introduced this idea in episode 10, where I talk about your work is not the center. So this is how the two ideas come together. One, your work is not your job or your career. It's what you create. And two, even so, even when you figure out what your real work is, which is what you're creating, even that is not to be the center of your life. It's critical. It's critical. It's important. It's the way you should redefine your understanding of work, yes, but even that is not to be the absolute center. It's actually number 3. So what are 1 and 2? I introduced this idea in episode 10 as the priority investment circle that I use to order my days and my life, and it's very important for a creating maven. It's 3 concentric circles, like a bullseye. So at the center circle is the most important priority for a creating maven. And I'm going to share this in order. So right there at the center circle is health. And then on the circle outside of that is relationships. And then third is creating that new redefinition of your work. And you might ask, okay, so where does my job specifically fit into it? Well, it's a distant fourth. And that's okay. Trust me, things are not going to fall apart. But these first 3 priorities, if you say yes to them first and you do that consistently, they'll regenerate and re-energize you consistently. And that's just the thing about the things that you say yes to first. They end up being your fuel, for better or for worse. Yes, where you put your attention first in your day and where you put your first efforts is your fuel. Your yes is your fuel. Specifically, your first yes, whatever it may be. That is your fuel and what you'll be running on for the rest of the day. Now, the thing that you need to ask yourself is, have I got a full tank? And do I have a full tank of the right fuel? And it's so important to have the right fuel because you know what happens when you put the wrong fuel into your car. If your car is supposed to run on regular gasoline, but you put diesel into it, you're going to have real problems. You're going to jack up your engine, and in short order, your car is not going to be moving anywhere anymore. So you have to watch very carefully the type of fuel that you put into your tank. That is what you say yes to first. That's why I'm always harping on the idea of creating before you consume. And this priority investment circle that I just shared with health at the center, then relationships and creating. These are your building blocks, your core fuel as a creating maven. It's the right fuel. And this is what you need to say yes to first over and over again and practice that and get to focusing on being more comfortable with saying yes to this. So I want you to ask yourself, so what is my fuel right now? Is it work email first thing in the morning? Is it your social media account? Is it the news? What are you taking in first? And really think about what impact is that having on your engine. For us creating mavens, doing things in the wrong order is also the same as putting the wrong fuel into our tanks. So you want to say yes, and not just a little yes, but a resounding level 10 yes to the right things all the time. That means health, relationships, and creating in that order every single day in some small way. I've coached many professionals who want more than anything else to create more, but they keep missing it because they struggle to accept this fact. You can't make these things an afterthought. They can't be on the outside of your life. They can't be the things that you do later at the end of the day when you're already exhausted and done and have nothing else to give the world. They have to come first. And people resist this because they hope that there can be another way. And they don't think that they can figure out how to bring these things more to the front of their lives. But whether or not you think you can or not, there's no way around it. These things have to come first and earlier, or else you're not going to be able to get what you ultimately want because you'll be building on a shaky foundation. Going days, weeks, months, and years without consistently investing in these areas will cost you. It'll cost you in terms of poor health. It'll cost you in terms of poor relationships. And it'll cost you in terms of not being able to really put your gifts to use and creating all that you were born to do. And we know the only way to be consistent in these areas is to give them first dibs. Otherwise, they get the dregs of your day, your time, your energy. You know this. You've experienced this. Now, I want you to close your eyes and think about your life a year from now. And just think, what if nothing changes? What if everything is absolutely the same? How would you feel if you made no progress in this area? That's what's going to happen if you're still not reprioritizing things and saying yes to the right things. Sorry, there's just no way around it. If you don't make these changes now, it's going to just be more and more of the same. Your yes, what you say yes to, is your fuel, but it's not just fuel. It's a protective boundary. In episode 20, I talked about how boundaries help to also keep you in. They're not just about keeping other people's out. It keeps you in purpose. It keeps you in integrity, all the things that you want to have and to create in this world. And your yes is also something that gives you laser-like focus on what is ultimately most important to you. And your yes is also your anchor in the midst of chaos. Remember in episode 21, I talked about needing to be indistractable in chaos. Your yes, those things that you say yes to first thing, they can serve as that anchor. So what are you going to do? I'm going to give you a 3x3 challenge. It's 3 things to do for no more than 3 minutes in the morning. And it's in all 3 of our priority categories. So 1, in health, find something to do first thing in the morning for no more than 3 minutes that's going to help you focus and concentrate on your health. Maybe it's going to be doing no more than 3 minutes of stomach crunches or pull-ups or push-ups. Something that's going to get your mind into this space of thinking, I need to be investing and thinking about my health. My health is important. And then 2, no more than 3 minutes of investing in something related to your relationships. Maybe it's leaving someone a voice note that you care about, or maybe it's just scheduling one-on-one time with someone who is important to you. Spend no more than 3 minutes every morning investing in something that has to do with your relationships. And then 3, creating. No more than 3 minutes. Take on this challenge to spend no more than 3 minutes creating, whether it's going to be writing or actually building something that's using your gifts. Why I'm giving you this challenge is to break out of the mindset and break out of the mold that you can't do this stuff because you have to spend hours and hours of doing that and you don't have time for that. That's not true. You can spend 3 minutes in each category first thing in the morning in some sort of way. And so that comes up to a total of 9 minutes. So first thing in the morning, 3 minutes on something related to your health, 3 minutes on something related to your relationships, and 3 minutes on something related to creating with your gifts. This is just a way to signal to yourself that you're about to start making some real important changes as a creating maven. And if you're really up to it, why not do more than just one day? Why not try to see how many days in a row you can keep this up? How many days can you keep this 3x3 challenge going? So your focus would be, I'm just going to try to not break the streak. I'm just going to try to do 3 minutes in these 3 categories for as many days as I can go. And if you fall off the wagon and you break the streak, that is your goal and challenge to beat for the next time. So let's say you do this 3 days in a row and then you drop off on day 4. When you start up the streak again, your goal is to beat the 3-day streak, to get 4, 5, 6, or beyond that. And however long you go and whatever your new streak becomes, that's your new floor to try to beat going forward. This is not about being perfect. This is not about winning. This is just about continuing to flex and practice this important muscle, because what you say yes to first is your fuel. And as a creating maven, it's so important that your fuel are these right things that are going to help to continue to propel you into creating beautiful things in the world. And that is consistently investing in the area of your health, your relationships, and actually creating first thing in your day. Our creating journey is a long one, and like every journey, it needs repeated stops to get fuel. So get the right fuel and avoid the wrong fuel. Your yes is your fuel. Choose wisely. See you soon, Creating Maven. Until then, remember to always ask yourself, what will I create?